Hello, friends. Have you ever wondered how our eye works? This tiny organ is a true wonder of nature that allows us to see colors, recognize faces, and even notice stars in the night sky. But is it really that simple? Today, we're embarking on an exciting journey to uncover the mysteries of our eye. Why do we see things that aren't there? How do optical illusions trick our brain? And what can our eyes reveal about ourselves? Grab your favorite drink, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let's dive into the exploration. Also, share in the comments if you've ever experienced an optical illusion that truly shocked you. Let's start with the basics. Our eye is not just a camera, but a complex system that works in tandem with the brain. Light enters through the cornea, the transparent outer layer that helps focus the rays. Then it passes through the pupil, that black circle that contracts or expands depending on the light. Behind the pupil is the lens, which acts like a magnifier, focusing the image onto the retina, a thin layer of cells at the back of the eye. The retina is the true hero. It contains millions of photoreceptors, rods, which are responsible for black and white vision in low light, and cones, which detect color. Fun fact, humans have three types of cones that respond to red, green, and blue light. That's why we can perceive millions of shades. But some animals, like mantis shrimp, have up to 16 types of cones. Imagine the colors they can see. Once the retina captures the image, signals travel through the optic nerve to the brain, specifically to the visual cortex. And this is where the magic begins. The brain interprets these signals, adding depth, context, and meaning. But it's not perfect. Sometimes the brain makes assumptions that lead to mistakes. Optical illusions. What are they and why do they work? Optical illusions are images or objects that make us see something that doesn't match reality. Straight lines appear curved, still images seem to move, and identical colors may look different. Why does this happen? Our brain constantly makes assumptions to process information faster. It uses context, prior experience, and even expectations to fill in the picture. Fun fact, illusions have been known to humans for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, architects of the Parthenon made columns slightly curved so they would appear perfectly straight. During the Renaissance, artists like Leonardo da Vinci used perspective illusions to make their paintings look three-dimensional. Today, illusions are not only art, but also valuable tools in science. Neuroscientists study them to understand how the visual cortex works. Illusions come in many types: geometric, like distorted lines, color-based, like ambiguous shades, and even motion illusions, where static images appear to come alive. We're about to show you some examples that will definitely make you rub your eyes in disbelief. Look at the screen. Here are two orange circles. Which one looks bigger? If one seems larger, that's the Ebbinghaus illusion. In fact, the circles are the same size, but their surroundings, larger or smaller circles, affect how we perceive them. This happens because the brain compares sizes relative to context. Fun fact, this illusion was discovered by psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus in the 19th century, and it's still used in perception research today. Let us know in the comments. Did you notice right away that the circles are identical? Now look at these two lines. Which one is longer? One appears longer, doesn't it? But surprise, they're the same. This is the Miller-Lyer illusion. The arrows at the ends of the lines create a sense of perspective, similar to the railroad tracks or building corners. Interestingly, people from cultures without straight lines, like those living in jungle environments, are less susceptible to this illusion. Try covering the arrows with your fingers. Does the image change? Ready for some magic? Here's the Fraser spiral. It looks like it's moving, right? But hold on. It's actually a static image. Repeating patterns and contrast fool our eyes, creating the illusion of motion. This illusion, discovered by James Fraser in 1908, shows how tiny eye movements influence perception. Look closely for 15 seconds and tell us in the comments what you saw. Here's Adelson's checker shadow illusion. Look at the two squares labeled A and B. They seem to be different shades, right? But they're exactly the same. The shadow and placement of the squares trick the brain, which takes lighting into account. This illusion was created by scientist Edward Adelson to demonstrate how we perceive contrast. Fun fact, if you cut out the squares in an image editor, you'll see they're the same color. Try it at home. The mysteries of the eye have fascinated humanity for centuries. In the 4th century BCE, Aristotle noticed that after looking at a bright light, we continue to see residual colors. This phenomenon is called an afterimage. In the 19th century, psychologists like Wilhelm Wundt began studying illusions, laying the foundation for the psychology of perception. Today, our knowledge of the eye is used everywhere. Ophthalmologists develop lenses and surgeries to correct vision. Designers create logos that grab attention using illusions. In cinema, directors use contrast and perspective to evoke emotion. Think of scenes from The Matrix or Inception. Fun fact, some animals see illusions just like we do. For example, cats react to the Fraser spiral, trying to catch the patterns. Birds perceive color illusions, which helps them find food. Try experimenting with illusions yourself. Draw two lines with arrows like in the Miller-Lyer illusion, and see if you can trick your friends. Or look at a bright light and then at a white wall. You'll see an after image. Share in the comments which experiments you tried.